Okay, now, you are probably already experiencing a lot more freedom in your voice just from mastering the first exercises that we've gone through. And again, like I said, previously, do not worry if you have not gotten all of them, if you haven't mastered every aspect of it. Some of the other things that you will come to later in the program will help you to master maybe some things that you didn't get before. So don't worry, just keep moving along. But now on this one, like I said, you're probably experiencing a lot more freedom. And now I'm going to show you how you're going to start to add a lot more power to your voice. This is one of the questions that I receive so much. How do I add more power and project a lot more? So let me explain the concept here. First of all, again, what we're doing is training your body where you're leaving the larynx or the voice box a lot more relaxed or in place. That way you're not cutting off your air. We need that air if you're going to start to try to create that power. So I'm going to use this next exercise to kind of demonstrate that. Now, the other thing I'm going to add to this is having you use my concept of reverse thinking. This is so major and it will take you a while to get it because it's more of a mental thing as well, okay? But the idea is that you're hearing notes going up, but I need you to mentally think that you are going down to try to reach them. It's bizarre, but it works. Because what it does is it allows your larynx, your voice box, to stay more in place. Let me just do a little bit here, because I'm going to use this on mic to demonstration of this on a few different sounds. But for right now, just understand it's A. I started here. A. It'll take some concentration on your part. I am hearing those notes go up, right? But I need to think A, that I'm going down. Now, and I will go through all of this so you'll get each aspect of this because there are very different things that you're going to add to this. The other part of this is that before I'm trying to reach that higher note, I want to think, I'm consciously thinking that I am letting go. I'm letting go there. Then I'm pulling down to get the power or to add the power to that one note, okay? That's just what I want you to think. It's just about developing this habit. Most times what we do is we want to get a sound, and we're pushing up to try to get that. Now what's going to happen, especially as you start getting higher in your range, is that you're going to be pushing your larynx or your voice box up. You'll be cutting off your air, and this is why you reach those places where your sound just kind of breaks apart. That's another question that I receive so much, is that why is my sound breaking apart or cracking? The only reason that it is breaking apart is because your larynx, your voice box is moving out of the way or moving into an unnatural place, so your vocal cords aren't able to work or operate effectively or in the way that they're supposed to, okay? So we're going to try this with Mike, and I'm going to have you do this first on ah. So put your hands here, because in you, I like doing this because I like for you to also keep the focus of keeping the sound above your cheeks, and you're going to start hearing your ah coming down that way. Ah, okay? All right. Close a little bit. Right there, now I'm going to have you're going to become so accurate on this because you were free, but then your brain kept thinking, oh, wait a minute, I have to do something to get to that higher note, so you weren't exactly on the pitch. Mm-hmm. So now, all you're going to feel is all you have to do is let go, and you'll be able to control that. You won't have to work to get to that note. Let's do it one more time. Great, that was good. You got more. Now, I had him close a little bit. I use really crazy sounds. Ahs are the worst because those are the kinds of sounds that will make you want to fall back in your throat, so they're great to use, right? So, but what I had him do, because of the texture, again, of his voice, because he's been used to going back in his throat, he has this heavier voice, he would have a tendency more to open it really wide to try to get those sounds. When you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to invite those swallowing muscles to come down. It'll completely cut off your sound. So on this sound, it's better to keep your mouth a little closed. Now we're going to go back and we'll try. The other sounds will be easier. I'll have you do it on an A, because on that one you'll actually find it a little easier. You got more that time. Now, the other thing that I did there, you could see I was prompting him. That means I was giving him the position to start. That starting position is so important. If you've had any sort of habit of singing back in your throat, you'll have the habit also of starting back here, okay? I want you to start to do what I call starting in a very clean place. Meaning that you're not allowing that kind of scoop to happen, as I call it, which causes you to use these muscles and fall back in your throat, okay? We're going to do this again. Now we're going to incorporate with this, adding a little bit of power. This will take time for you to develop this, or time and practice is doing it, but I want you to basically understand the concept, okay? So what I'm doing here, letting go, and thinking I'm pulling down on that sound, all right? I just want you to do that. We're just going to add a tiny bit more power to it, all right? Great, that's good. Now, he got to a place where it started to break apart a little bit, but then what he did was he started to figure out how to connect it a little bit more. Now, I never want you to go high or keep going higher where the sound is breaking apart and going into what we call a falsetto. Falsetto is what is basically a false tone. That's what it means. It means that the vocal cords aren't coming together and making a very clean, making a connection where the sound is staying connected. You will know when you're in a falsetto because you'll hear, number one, hey, it's an airier sound, and you cannot connect a falsetto sound back into your normal voice. Hey, now where I started, hey, was more of a mixture with both head and chest in it, and then I'm able to come back down into my normal voice very easily. So let me talk about this concept because a lot of questions come up about this. I always like for you to think that what you're learning how to do is how to sing with what I call a mixed voice, no matter where you are in your range. In other words, you've heard the terms chest voice, middle voice, head voice, and all of that. I don't like for you to think that you're singing in one or the other. You're learning how to use your voice where you can sing in a mixed voice no matter where you are. Yes, in the lower parts of your voice, you will have more hey of a chest sound there, okay? And chest sound just means you're experiencing it, hearing it in a lower part. It has a different timbre to it, right? And then in the higher part, hey, I'm in that head voice, but it's not completely disconnected. So that's the point where we're going, where you can expand your range to incorporate all of that, and it's always in a mixed voice. Then what you'll start to see is that when you're trying to create a different sound or a different style of music, you will use different variations of that. On a rock sound, you're going to probably use a little bit more of that hard edge chest sound in your voice, but it's still going to be mixed no matter where you are. So don't let all that stuff confuse you, because we'll get to more of that as we go through, and it'll each time more and more will make sense to you. Well, thank you, sir.